Join us today as we learn what it's like to really be a firefighter in the city of Statesville.
Welcome to Front and Center, the podcast that pulls back the curtain on government operations, offering you an exclusive glimpse into the inner workings of the city of Statesville.
Welcome back to Front and Center. My name is April Nesbitt. I am here with my fabulous co-host, Michaela Griffin. We are here to talk with Captain Brandon Wiggins, who is a 13-and-a-half-year veteran with the Statesville Fire Department. Welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me this morning.
We appreciate you coming in and giving us the lowdown about what it's like to really work for the city of Statesville Fire Department, or fire department in general, because, I mean, most places, a fire department is just a home, a second home, basically. So we're going to jump in. We're excited to hear your answers and see what you've experienced with the fire department.
Okay, so you ready?
Sure.
So I have one question.
Okay.
Were you one of the kids that wanted to be a firefighter a fireman when he was young?
Yes, and the reason why is multiple members of my family were in the fire service.
Okay,
Gotcha.
Okay.
So that's kind of where it came from.
Okay, so that's how you started your career.
That's
Okay.
correct.
All right, so, and you just wanted, after you got out of high school, or you went to college and become a firefighter?
Well, yeah, so I graduated from South Idaho in 2007 and then went into the BFD program at Mitchell College, which was actually at that time the first class they ever had in spring of 2008.
Awesome. I love
You
it.
went straight in. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Did
Yeah,
you
I
work
did.
as a volunteer as well?
I got on Troutman in December of 2007 and then
Okay.
BFT started in January 2008.
So that's how you really knew, as you got in, you got some experience, and you knew right then this is what you wanted to do.
Well, I can tell you a quick story of how
Tell us.
All right. So my great-grandfather was one of the founding members at Lake Norman Fire Department.
Okay.
So this is, his funeral is where I decided what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. So that day I saw the brotherhood, the sisterhood, the love, the team aspect of the job. And from November of 2006, I decided that this is what I wanted. Before that, I wanted to be a meteorologist.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So that his funeral.
But that's so cool, though.
His funeral
that-
changed my mind. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Awesome.
those funerals are very emotional.
They are. It's a
And
ceremony for sure.
It is, and you're right. It does show the brotherhood, sisterhood of firefighters.
Mm-hmm.
So, tell us about a typical day for a firefighter. Is there really a such thing as a normal day? Is any day the same as the other?
No shift is really the same. And for just the citizen of Statesville, we don't have necessarily a normal day like you guys would. Mm-hmm. We try to, our shift starts at 8 o'clock in the morning. We have PT, we have equipment check, we have training in the afternoons. We eat lunch together, we eat supper together, but no day is what I would consider normal, because at any given time you're going to respond to a call. And you may have a schedule that you try to follow, but, unfortunately, it's hard for us to stay on schedule.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So who does all the cooking on your shift?
That's the one thing about the fire service. We have some great cooks.
Oh.
So we do.
Okay.
Supper with
So
you
you guys take turns cooking on your shift, or is it basically one specific or maybe two specific people?
Yeah, so Justin Yox, John Bajek, and Cody Brown are my firefighters, and they all do a great job. All have special dishes that they cook. Yoxi's probably the best cook. But,
You can't say that too loud.
That's okay. That's okay. They know it. But yeah, we enjoy that part of the day, and a lot of times we get interrupted cooking or while we're eating. But it's not like they're hungry outside too.
Wanting me.
Yeah.
Michaela, your legs looking tasty. If anyone wants to know that as a dog barking.
But no, we have great cooks, and we have fun with it. So, and
That's
sometimes
awesome.
usually like what we do, we go out for lunch,
Okay.
and then we'll cook in for supper.
Nice. Okay.
That's good.
Like family time.
Yeah.
Basically is.
Yeah,
It is.
that's it. That's why we're going to have supper with him.
That's right.
Let us know
Yeah.
when, what is it, Yacht? What's his name?
Justin Yox.
Yeah, let us know when he's cooking. Since you
will.
trust him, we'll be there.
He's on baby leave, so.
Oh, okay. Well, we got to wait till he comes in.
Congratulations.
That's awesome. So we often hear that firefighting is like physically and mentally demanding. It's a demanding job. So what are some of the challenges that you have?
Well, it's obviously physically demanding.
Mm-hmm.
We have PT exams that we have to do on an annual basis. We have an air consumption course we have to do. We have physicals and stuff like that keeps us. We understand that health is very important. And the city does a good job. Our administration does a good job, especially as of late, making sure that we get what we need with the physical fitness part of it. We have a lot of PT time every shift. But the mental side of our job has really come to light in the past several years. And when I first started, it really wasn't that big a deal. Well, I say that. It wasn't a focus.
Right.
But it has become a huge focus now. I think after COVID, it really sparked interest in a lot of people. And once again, our administration, especially recently, they've done a really good job of getting us access to therapists if we need it. We have a peer support team. Our firefighters that went to a class, peer support, and if we need them, they're there. If we go to a call, they will reach out to us. A bad call, they'll reach out to us. If we need to speak to them, we can. So the mental side of the job it takes a toll on folks, but we're doing a better job nowadays of getting folks help.
That's good. That's awesome.
That's what I was going to ask about was mentally. How in the world do you prepare for the unpredictability? You never know what you're going to see until you get there. I mean, you get a little bit of warning when the call comes in, but you don't know until you get there.
Yeah.
And what folks don't realize a lot of times is it may say firefighter, but you guys are so much more than firefighters. You're an EMT. I mean, you're responding to, you never know what you're going to walk into.
Yeah,
So,
the majority of our job nowadays is medical response, medical/rescue. And we're all trained EMTs and like I said, that's the majority of what we do. But it is. Repeat your question real quick, if you don't mind.
well, just talking about how you get
the
ready
mental
mentally.
aspect, yeah.
The mental aspect.
Well,
and-
it's training. So all of our training is scenario based for the most part, and then experience. So when you first get in the job, you're exactly right. You're going to go to a call. You're going to be wide eyed. You don't have really any idea what you're getting yourself into. But over time, experience changes that mindset, and our training changes that mindset. We try to make sure when we go to these training exercises that we're putting ourselves in awkward and tough situations. Now,
makes sense.
well, and yes, there are situations where it's somebody's worst day, and we know that going into it, right? But our job is to respond to the scene, be professional, do the best we can, and try to make the situation a positive situation, even though the outcome may not be what we want, or obviously the person that called 911 what they want. But our training and experience is what sets us up.
And you being a captain and having almost 14 years, well, you have over 14 years of experience when you count in your volunteer time, they count on you to be calm and to carry them whenever the situation doesn't look like it can be calm, because I'm a person that freaks out.
Yeah,
I go into freak out mode. So it's your job too, because you have to keep your guys calm. You're the experienced guy here. So, yeah.
Well, you're right. And it's funny you say that. Sometimes as a company officer, you have to, on the outside, be calm.
Yeah.
But on the inside, you're like, oh man, what are we gonna do? But over time, with training and experience, you somehow, some way, come up with a solution. And having firefighters and a crew that respects, and like you said, they look to you, man, it makes a huge difference. And I got a great group. We got a lot of good guys at the fire department. So firefighters make the company officer, which is a whole different conversation we can get into. but you're exactly right. Sometimes you gotta put up a persona so everybody doesn't panic.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
We
I'm the
understand that.
panicker.
Yeah. We know how to make it work too, though, April.
Yeah.
We're good. We got to give ourselves some credit. Come on, man. So we often hear about how, the fire department and firefighters, you have this family bond. Can you talk a little bit about that and, how you guys work together? Because you're there day and night and day,
33% of our lives are with our crews.
It's your second family.
Right.
It is, and there are times we spend more time with my guys at work than I do at home. But we are a family, and we get to know each other very well. And we're going to these calls, and they, like we just talked about, they expect me to be on my game, and I expect them to be on their game. And when you get in these tight situations, you need somebody you can count on. And we eat together. We clean the station together. We do yard maintenance together, and then on top of that, we're running these emergency calls. But you get to know their families. their kids, their spouses, and it has to be that way.
Yes.
It has to be that way. You don't have a choice. You got to build that relationship.
Yeah, that's a lot of trust. You're walking into a burning building with someone. You better have a lot of trust in that person to have your back, or them have you. You know.
Yeah,
that's a lot. I mean,
you wouldn't believe the conversation you can have with one of your firefighters without saying a word over time.
Yeah.
You know, and that's when things are going really well. And I love that part of the job.
Okay.
That's one of my favorite parts of the job, is just having those relationships.
Without saying a word. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's true.
It really is. So, family life. I know it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough being away from you. If you've got kids, especially little ones, 24 hours, and then you get 2 days off and you got to go back 24 more hours. That's a lot. What if you have sick kids at home? It's a lot of things that you have to deal with. I mean, and your family's dealing with your wife. I mean, that's a lot. How's that working out? I mean, does that work out?
Yeah, well, when I got in this gig years ago, I had a battalion chief at the time named Jeff Leaptrot. You know, he told me that your spouse, your wife, will be a single mom every third day, and he's right, man. I have 2 small children, and that question probably could be answered by my wife better than me. But it is hard, and it's hard. That's one of the, when we talk about the mental aspect, that's one of the hardest mental things for me, is taking to school, drop them off, and then, you know, for 24 hours you're not going to be home.
Right.
So you're going to miss the bedtime story. You're going to miss the things that 8 to 5 families do. But saying that, you know, you have to maximize those 48 hours off. You maximize that time. Yeah. And your family gets used to it. Your children get used to it. You know, my wife, she's known this since day one. So it's hard on us mentally, but I have to shout out the spouses of firefighters, because they take a lot of the load for sure.
Well, that's like at Christmas. Somebody wasn't home on Christmas Eve. Somebody wasn't home on Christmas Day. So one shift obviously got both days off, but two shifts, they were gone for, I mean, that's a big holiday, and with little kids, that's tough. That's a lot. Yeah.
And my wife's birthday is Christmas Eve.
So oh my goodness.
You talk about rough on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
But
I'm
but
sure
you're
she's
right.
providing you a huge support system, though, and she's 100% behind you. And and I think going in, a spouse has to know, either if you're in fire or law enforcement, anything like this, that you have to know up front. There's sacrifices that normal, regular, everyday people don't have to make.
Yeah, a lot of your Christmas, Thanksgiving, and all the holidays are scheduled around your schedule.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not necessarily grandma's schedule, or it's your schedule.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. It's awesome. So you have your firefighters, and they have go to scenes and see just crazy things sometimes. How do you handle the emotional part? We talked about it a little bit, but how do you handle the emotional part, and what really keeps you going? Like, what is it that says, I'm going back the next day? You don't really have a choice, but I'm going back, to continue to do this.
Well, let me answer that part first. The success, the changing of the day for that person, when they call 911, they expect you to show up and do your job, and when things go right, that's what keeps you coming back. Yeah. You know what I mean? Having those successes. Now, we fail quite a bit. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, life is failure at times, right?
That's exactly right.
But what was your first part of your question? I'm sorry.
Just how do you continue to, with the emotional things?
It goes back to, for me, it's the experience that I've gained throughout my career.
Oh, okay.
So there are, like I said earlier, there are calls that we run that they're not good. You learn how to deal with it. You lean on experienced guys to have conversations. Hey, man, you had this call 10 years ago. What did you do?
How did you get past it?
Yeah.
I mean,
and a lot of guys have faith, and that's important. And then the peer support and having community. Talk about family, your crew being your family. Coming back to the fire station over a meal, watching a big Braves fan, watching a ball game, and just have a conversation about it.
Yeah.
And then try to move on from it. And if it comes back, situation comes back, address it. And that happens. And like I said earlier, that we are focusing on that more and more now in 2025 than we ever have.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to see more and more people stepping up wanting to be part of these families as they see you guys and they see how much of a family you are and what you can achieve. It's a personal achievement. Yes, you're a firefighter, but it's such a huge thing in your heart to know that, hey, I'm helping people.
Yeah.
You're helping people. I mean, and that, to me, I think that for a while that kind of dipped. People didn't care about other people, but I think it's coming back now. People really care, and so I'm hoping that with the fire industry, that you guys, I know you're in the middle of a open process right now for enrollment to try to be a firefighter. So I mean, you never know what someone's going to do. I mean,
when we, like I said, the calls that we run are at times they're like, man, you arrive on the scene and you're like, how in the world? But when you have success, when you fix the problem, if you will, man, that's what it's all about.
it's the best feeling, I'm sure.
It's the best feeling. I believe it.
Speaking of that, what's one of the most rewarding moments that you've had on your job?
Well, I got two
Okay.
answers for that. So one is very generic. It was September 11th, 2012.
Okay.
We were dispatched to an apartment fire and with a victim. And me and my crew, we went in and we found the victim, got him out. He spent several days in the hospital, but I think it was 2 shifts later, we're walking in the food line to buy supper for the shift. And I hear, hey, and I look, and it was that guy.
Oh, wow.
See, you make me cry because I mean that's like a walking miracle.
It was that guy. You guys saved my life, and we took a picture with him. And so yeah, that's what keeps bringing you back every third day. But as you progress and being a company officer, watching my guys have success, go through the processes of promotion, get promoted to lieutenant, which is a driver, get promoted to captain, get their firefighter 1, get their driver operator 2 and 3. Those things are what I look forward to when it, being successful and running the calls and saving the cats and saving the babies. But
I always give you guys a hard times about kittens and stuff. So yes.
Yeah.
But you remember, I'm public information, so I'm trying to
You
get
love
a
that
feel-good
stuff.
story.
Yeah, you love that stuff.
Because I'm trying to lift y'all up and get a feel-good story.
Yeah.
But this is what people need to hear, what you're telling right now. This is what people need to hear. And
those things, those situations happen a lot, and sometimes we talk about it, sometimes we don't. Sometimes it's in the paper, sometimes it's not. But we have a lot of those on a shift-by-shift basis. And
that's awesome.
Sometimes they're small, but they mean a lot.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We'll take the wins.
Yeah.
So on the flip side of the question April asked, what is some of the toughest days that you guys, or one of the toughest days that you guys have had, and how did you get your team to get through it?
Yeah, that goes back to going to emergency call and it doesn't go your way. It goes back to going to emergency call and it's a child or it's an older person and you once you clear, that one's over, and in 5 minutes you could go to another one.
Yeah, you have to stop what you're thinking and go to the next one. I can't imagine.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
Yeah, and
process.
You're right. And over time, that gets easier, and as you once again experience, it gets easier. But I don't know that we ever get really used to it. It's just you just kind of figure it out, and some are better than others, but. We knew what we were getting into when we signed a dotted line, and it's a very rewarding job, and sometimes it's very frustrating as well. But we know what we're getting into, and a lot of us look forward to the grind, even though it can be demanding. But the grind is also what kind of sparks your interest and keeps things going.
Yeah. Good.
We often call you guys adrenaline junkies. I mean, and it is.
That's
a
true.
lot of times it can be. I mean, that you are looking for the excitement, but then also you have those moments where it's so sad and just.
Yeah, when you're first getting in the job, when you're young, the adrenaline is through the roof, and then as you get a little bit older, you get this quick shot of it, but then you're like, whoa, you got to bring it back down.
Gotcha.
And I will on a structure fire like I am. Let's go. That's what we're here to do, right? But you gotta kind of cage that a little bit, and as a company officer, you got decisions to make, and as a battalion chief, you've got a lot of decisions to make. Firefighters are just kind of bulls in china shops, if you will. So But that's what makes them good, you know?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. All right, so tell me, what's the biggest lesson you've learned as a firefighter that's stuck with you?
I'll go back to learning and folks that are young people or whoever that are getting into the job, being able to overcome failure. Because
That's tough.
Yeah.
as a young man, I didn't do well with it. And I can't lie about it. I didn't really know how to fail. I didn't know how to overcome the failure. I didn't know how to learn from it. But once you fail and once you figure out how to learn and correct your mistakes, things become easier. So I just, for folks that are wanting to get in the job, being able to learn how to take constructive criticism, make yourself better. Don't if things go wrong, don't be afraid to look yourself in the mirror and say, hey, I made a mistake. I screwed up. But this is how I'm going to do it differently the next time. And yeah, hopefully it works out.
Yeah. That's some good advice. I like that.
That's really good. I love that.
I was listening
hey,
oh,
Listen, I mean,
I'm still learning.
I always go back to I love the game of baseball. And if you fail 7 out of 10 times, you still got a 300 batting average. You're going to make the All-Star team. So in the fire service, we don't want to fail 7 out of 10 times. But a lot of the things that a lot of the new regulations and standards
Yes.
come from failure.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's good. So I know you answered that with some advice, but is there anything else, like if anybody wants to become a firefighter, is there any other advice that you would give them, and what qualities would make someone a great firefighter?
I'm going to say
that's
something.
a good question.
I have heard you guys say that when the trainees come in, or you call them probies, whatever you call them, you can tell. You know immediately after one day, you know who's going to make it and who's not. Because you've been through this. Yeah. So what are those traits? What are you looking for?
And some folks have it and some folks don't. I mean, you can teach somebody how to be a firefighter. You really can, but you got to have determination. You've got to. I know I keep going back to it, but learning how to make mistakes, overcome them, work together with people that you may not obviously know at the beginning, but may have different points of view.
Yeah.
That's going to happen.
Yeah.
Oh man, don't be afraid to. You're going to have folks that may be mean. Lack of a better word. When you're going through this training process, it is a very goal driven, and if you're not meeting those goals and you're not meeting those standards, you're going to be. They're going to make sure that you know that you're not
well aware.
You're not doing what you need to do. But having a positive attitude. That's good. Having a positive attitude that goes in life anyway. But as a firefighter, being positive. When a email comes down from administration that you don't agree with, hey, that's okay. We can work around it. Let's be positive. But specifically for a young person that is, maybe coming out of high school or college, when you decide to be a firefighter, you've got to devote everything to it, to get your training in, get your firefighter 1 and 2, get your EMT. You got to devote so much time and effort, and that's the hard part, is understanding that this is not something you're going to get overnight. Even if you get the job, you've got months of preparation before you're on the fire truck, before you can put the shirt on, before you can answer the call. So
and
dedication.
After you get the shirt and the seat in the truck, they're still training every year. You guys go through training
every day,
year round.
every shift.
Wow.
I mean, you're learning every day, and you're perfecting your skills, and just it's constant. So I mean,
it is constant.
Like you said, you have to be determined.
You have to know this is what you want to do. You can't go into it halfway, 50%. You got to give 100%, and that's where it gets hard, because you're going to be tired. You're going to be aggravated, but you got to show up and give 100%.
Let's talk about tired and aggravated. Let's talk about that. You might go to a call, be out for a couple hours, come back, finally hit the pillow to go to sleep, and boom, it happens again. And this could happen all night long.
Yeah.
I mean, this is exhaustion. I mean, when you go home, you're thinking, okay, it's 8 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, it's funny,
these
yeah.
guys go home at 8 o'clock in the morning, and it's time to go home. But I'm so tired, I'm going to have to go home and sleep. This is not my time off.
Can you? I'll give you my wife's phone number. Can you call her? No.
But yeah, I mean, because I'm sure families expect you, okay, you're off at 8 o'clock. You've had all night to sleep. You come home, let's go. We got things to do. You got to mow the grass. You got to do this. You got to do that. Some of you have second jobs.
A lot of us, yeah.
So,
Yep.
yeah, I mean, we're just being real here.
Right,
It's
that's good.
We're not trying to discourage anyone, but we want the best of the best, and we want people to come in and apply for these positions because that's what you guys are looking for.
Well, that's why the hiring process is as strenuous as it is. But no, there are many times where you get off at 8 o'clock in the morning, you've been up multiple times during the night, and you walk through the door and hear your two kids, hey, Dad.
Yep.
And
You have to be daddy.
It's showtime.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, you don't
right.
you don't have time to take a break, and your wife expects you to be dad when you get home and husband when you get home. You're like, man, I am more slap out, but that's the reality of the job. And like all the other things we talked about today, that this is a very real reality, and the only way that you can learn how to get better is over time. That's it. It takes time. So.
Well, I will say that I have been out and watched you guys with the public at community events. You guys are amazing. You talk about positive attitudes. You guys always interact with kids. You love being out in the community, some more than others, I know. There's some that don't love it, and it's okay.
Right.
Everybody doesn't like the same thing. Just like you said, there's going to be differing personalities, you know. But, I mean, you guys are amazing. And I guess my last question would be, is there anything that you want the city to know, our residents to know about your company, about the Statesville Fire Department?
Well, Chief Curfews, I know, is very particular about our public engagement, which is a good thing. And I enjoy it. I enjoy getting out in the community and talking to people. And, yep, it may be 95 degrees one day or it may be 25. But you're going out and you're showing children the fire truck. You're showing adults the fire truck. You're answering questions. And the citizens that call 911 need to know that there's some good folks coming to their residence or their business when they call. And it's not hard to be nice to somebody.
Right.
It really ain't. It's not hard to be nice to somebody. It's easy to be mean. It's easy to be angry. But being nice to people, answering their questions, being professional, carrying yourself the right way. We got a lot of guys at the fire department, a lot of guys and girls at the fire department that do a really good job of that. We got some veteran guys that have been here a long time that understand, the grind of the job. We got some young people that are learning and that are prepared and eager to do the job. We're a busy fire department.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're plenty of training opportunities. We run a lot of interesting calls. I don't, we don't have to get in deep. We run a lot of interesting calls. We have a fairly diverse community, and it's a good place to work. It's an exciting fire department, and if you're looking, for somebody that's watching this that's looking for a job, I know we're hiring, and it's a good place to work. And
Awesome.
I almost 14 years, 16 more to go. I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be fun.
Well, Captain Wiggins, we can't thank you enough for coming in. This has been a real look of what it's like to be a firefighter. And just to hear you be candid and talk about how things really are. There's ups and downs in every job, and you guys are amazing. That's all I can say, is that you guys are amazing. And we can't thank you enough for coming in. And we're hoping that anybody that's watching this, that if you're interested, check us out, statesvillenc.net, click on the fire, and you can go to rookie school. There's all kinds of information on there about applying. Just check us out. We have an amazing department. Thanks for being with us today.
Tune in to the next episode as we share our dedication to transparency, public service, and governance, shining a spotlight on our commitment to keeping you well informed about all things City of Statesville.